What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kai Gibson, aka Real Secrets. And today we got another fire topic for y'all. I decided every single month your boy's gonna bring at least one video where I show y'all the running the place section. And inside of this video, I'm planning on being the quarterback, and I want you to be the running back. I'm gonna hand the ball off to you, and I want you to hit the A gap and get your ass to the touchdown. Now, inside this video, I'm about to get ready to break down the play that can get you over 150K within the next 30 to 60 days with a newly open LLC, or whether you've been in business for a while and you have not did anything with your business yet. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. All right, so let me introduce y'all to something called credit stacking. The average person goes out and they apply for one credit card at one time. So if I'm somebody that's going out and I'm looking to be able to get my first credit card, they usually will go something like an Apple credit card or a Discover card, and they only apply for that one card at one time. But we don't understand truly how the banks communicate with each other. When we understand this one thing is when we truly start to get credit stacking, and your funding rates are going to depend on this. If I'm somebody that's applying credit stacking to my funding, I'm not just approaching one bank for one credit card. I'm approaching 3 at one time, which means I'm maximizing my funding. So let's get to it. This is going to be credit stacking one-on-one. When we look at banks, we usually look at the banks by their name. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, American Express. We all look at the banks by their name. But how you get on that expert level is actually looking at the banks by what bureau they actually pull from. This is when you start to increase your funding. Because see, if I'm looking at Bank of America, and Bank of America, the bureau that Bank of America pulls from is TransUnion, and let's say I decided to go out and I get some funding from Bank of America, and they fund me over 20K on one credit card. Well, when I go over to another bank that's a best friend of Bank of America, in other means they pull from the same bureau as Bank of America, then I'm asking for a denial. Because see, usually when we do this, the banks are holding their money. They holding their money from you because now you're looking money thirsty because you're going out and asking multiple banks for money, and then you come to them last. This is what it looks like. And you don't want the banks holding their money from you. You want them to throw it at you. See, when you walk inside the bank and you don't like you need that bank's money, that's when they start throwing it at you. I can get funded from any bank I want to. So therefore, this is when they throw it at you. They know they want to be the ones that actually work with you because you're going to make them even more money. What bank won't want that? So, number one, we want to make sure we check the bureaus the banks are actually pulling from. And there's only 3 of them: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experience. Out of all the banks you know inside the world, they all communicate through these 3 bureaus. Now, when we understand this, is when we need to make our next move. All right. I told you guys at the beginning that the average person decides to go out and start one business checking account with one bank. Instead, what we want to do is, whether we have a newly open business or we have an existing business, we want to automatically go out and start 3 different business checking accounts from banks that are going to be pulling from 3 different bureaus. So that means I want to go and start a business checking account with a bank that pulls from TransUnion. I want to go to one that pulls from Equifax, and then I want to go to one that pulls from Experience. What this does is it allows the banks to not communicate with each other, and this is what you want. See, when the banks are able to communicate with each other, it's just like coming to ask me for $500 today, and then the next week you go ask my mama for $500. If I communicated with my mama and I told her you borrowed it from me, 9 times out of 10, she's not gonna give it to you because we got communication with each other. The banks look at us in the exact same way. So this is why I say no communication. When we went out and started those 3 banks, when we go out and start those 3 business checking accounts that pull from the 3 different bureaus, we allow them not to communicate, and therefore we're able to pull more money out of each bank that we go to. And I like to call it the effect of matching the money that you got from the first bank. So if I go out to the first bank and I get 25K, I can always do it with the second bank and get another 25K, as long as I make sure those 2 banks cannot communicate with each other. So we want to go out, start those 3 different business checking accounts, and making sure that they pull from 3 different bureaus. And this is going to be how we run the play. In 4 words to be able to explain this: as long as I go to a different bank that pulls from a different bureau, I'm able to receive the maximum amount of funding of each bank that I actually go out to. So now we're going to give you guys the example of this. Let's say that the first bank that I started a business checks account with is going to be US Bank that pulls from TransUnion. If I go to them and I apply for funding for my first business credit card and they give me over 25K on this credit card, that's great. Where the average person makes a mistake at is they go over to a different bank, but it pulls from the same bureau. What we want to do is we want to make sure we make that move over from US Bank to another bank like Navy Federal, which pulls from a different bureau. Now we're going to go over to Navy Federal and we ask them for that same exact move. We have the same exact approach, but now we're able to get the amount that we got from the first bank from the second. Now we're at 50K in one day. And we're not done yet because we still have another bureau to approach, which is going to be Experience. A well-known bank that pulls from Experience is going to be Chase. And they're very known for the Chase Ink card when it comes to business, giving out high limits and no documentation, which is going to be another thing we're going to talk about inside of this video today. Now we go to Chase and we get to double our money up. We've now turned 25K into 75K inside of one day just by simply understanding how the banks communicate with each other. Now, the next step that you can actually upgrade if I'm a newly open business and go to that next level is approaching no documentation banks. If there's one of the biggest mistakes an entrepreneur usually makes, is going out to a bank that automatically requires over 2 years of history from their business. So imagine I go out and I start my business and I go to a bank that tells me, hey, listen, you can't touch this dotted line to sign up for funding unless you've been in business for 2 years. I've automatically disqualified myself in the beginning because I didn't know what banks to approach. So if I'm a newly open business, if I've opened my LLC up within the past 6 months, I want to only approach no documentation banks simply because they don't ask me for proof of income or they won't ask me for tax returns. So I'm able to skip the line past all the bullshit that everybody else shows y'all on the internet simply by approaching no documentation banks. Because 9 times out of 10 as a newly open business, I don't have proof of income. I've just started my LLC. This is the idea created, but I don't have income generated. That gets a pass because they don't have to look at it. And of course, we don't have tax returns, not a year, not a 2 years, not a 3 years at all. So we're able to skip past the line with this information. Now, if you're somebody inside of the YouTube channel that want to be able to take your business to the next level, and you saying you want to be able to see funding within the next 30 to 60 days, make sure you enter Rich Secrets University down below inside that comment section and tap in with your boy. It's your boy, Kai Gibson, AKA Rich Secrets. And we out.